Welcome to this Creative Instinct podcast production, made for the Cambridgeshire Recovery Service, one of a series made by people navigating their recovery journey, driven by people who have been there and recognise the way.
The first time, we were sort of made to go, didn't we? We got DRRs. Because we got caught shoplifting, and the court said you have to engage in treatment through the DRR. And then that come to an end, and we sort of phased out, didn't we, back into the using scene?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
I think, and then...
Just sort of, yeah, I mean, because, it took a little while of conversations, between me and Lou to say, like, listen, we need to go back, we need to structure this, we need to make sure it's still going to be maintained.
This scariness of trying to make that change and sustain that change, I think, for us.
I really think that doing it together, although it had its moments of being challenging, it was kind of blissful because you had someone now right next to you who understood you, who understood where you was, who could respond to what you're feeling, and that closeness as well of just having someone now. And from there, I believe that we both sort of drove together to say, look, no, we need to re-engage. We need to get down on this. We need to be serious about it. We want this life. We thought about this life. We spoke about it. Let's go get it.
And we used to always say, didn't we? We wasn't brought up like this, so we knew different. Yeah. And I think it's different for people that have that parental substance misusing because they're stuck in that cycle with the parent. That's what they've learnt growing up. Me and Jay had amazing upbringings. So Jay went, I know different, and I wanted different. And he wanted different for us.
Even though we had our own goals and our own minds and to do whatever, strictly speaking around sort of substances and stuff like that and careers, we both wanted to achieve. We was both go-getters, both achievers. And then, that's what really drove us back as well, is not only being sold sort of rubbish work, being tired of being out there in the rain and just feeling sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, basically. It drove us, but then, as I said previously, I think in my first podcast, is that we met some amazing practitioners, some amazing people who are really driven to caring and wanting to help people. And I believe that's what drew us in even more, because the first time round, it didn't feel like it was that, because it felt like an order. I had to go, I had to do this. But actually, when we was rocking up and we were really welcomed, we were made to feel part of the service, we were made to feel part of our treatment, that is what really inspired, I believe both of us to want to face more, to want to do better, to want to achieve, to want to get our head down.
And I think seeing people in recovery working really helped us.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. It was the attachment to the service, the way we was treated,
To get that compassion from someone that went that step further made us wanting to engage more. And there was one gentleman that really sticks out for us and still friends this day with us, a peer mentor coordinator. And we become stable on our script, and we was doing a day programme. And then the day programme come to an end, and he approached us and he said, would you like to train to be peer mentors? Started peer mentoring, we've done the 6 weeks course. And it wasn't even something we done together. It started off to help ourselves, to give us structure, and at that time, I don't think we thought back. I didn't think we thought that we could help others because where we were at. So when we started to help others, that's when the reward really came, And I say to everyone, you're not writ off because you've had an addiction. No. Addiction don't discriminate, So for me, I didn't know I needed to give back, but when I started to give back, it was really rewarding. And that's what made me stay stable, because I had others looking at me.
Yeah, it was definitely that drive and that feeling that started to come in. When you're supporting others, you've learnt what you've learnt. You understood both sides of the fence, and able to sit down with someone and empathise and understand and be able to relate to their situation as a peer mentor and guide people as well. That was just, there's no price on that. There was literally, and the more I done it, the more I wanted to do it, the more I wanted to get out of bed in the morning, the more I was thinking about things, where could I go? And that's what started everything going, really, was that, the giving back.
And it's the opportunities that we were provided with. Obviously, we had our own determination to want to do better, but it was the opportunities. It was CRI back then, but it was the opportunities that they provided us that allowed us to sustain and make that change. You know, because it was just left to us, and we was on a script. We might have achieved a period of abstinence, but without that structure and that compassion, would we be able to sustain it? I think we would have had to try a good few times.
Oh yeah, I think it would have been definitely more than once.
Yeah.
But as I say, there's the strengths around us, the encouragement, the offerments and encouragement, you know, from CRI, CGO as it was.
Other peers as well that were going through it.
Other peers who we'd seen who had been through it and made it through at that point. And it wasn't even, it didn't even look like a struggle. It just looked like they'd just made it. They just come out the other side and they'd realised what their life was like and they wanted to make the changes. And that's what I said about giving back, because I was noticing what they was doing. They was giving back. I just wanted to be a real big part of that.
And it's the faith that we felt from CRI as well, you know, that they had in us, that they trusted us to do the peer mentoring.
Yeah.
And then we were there delivering the peer mentoring after we was peer mentors. And it's a bit of imposter syndrome. The more that you're a professional, the more the tools or the good structure that you put in, the more you start to believe in yourself. It's what we took from it, I feel, as well. But what we were given, but what we took as well and received. It
was definitely a two-way street. It was a one-way street at first, but then it just suddenly turned into a massive two-way street. Bigger than a motorway, I'd say, either side, you know.
Yeah, and then we done a peer mentoring. And then they asked if I wanted to be volunteers. And it was like, what's the difference? We didn't know the difference. We thought we were doing what we were doing. We didn't think we could elevate. And then we done the volunteering course, didn't we?
Yeah, we done it at separate times, but we done it.
Because I was more admin when I was volunteering. Jay was more deliverance, doing the groups. He was more the welcome into the service. There's the tea and coffee. Would you like a toastie? Them little things help. You think, oh, what can a cup of tea and a toastie do? It can do a lot for trust, for building, for chipping away at clients, you know. And we have a free flow here. And clients that don't even want to come to medicals actually get up out their bed and come to that space because what they get from it, you know. So, yeah, it was peer mentoring and volunteering. That really built us, didn't it? And
massively.
We dropped a lot of old habits because it taught us clean, good living, you know. Yeah. And then I think you got an apprenticeship, didn't you?
I did. Wow. I just remember turning up and meeting a manager at the gate. I was an alcohol apprentice, but the job was to actually launch and build the service, design it. And then sort of within the 3 months, I'd managed to get a gardening group together. Everything was beautiful. I was having donations from the local community and bakers, food coming in. You know, we built a wicked team there. The staff morale was really good.
It was buzzing.
It was buzzing. And it's still buzzing today. You can still go back there. Most of the gardening group that I built is still maintaining it. And it's just a beautiful place to be. That was an amazing start, or one of the starts to my career in recovery treatment.
How do you feel that helped us? I feel it was definitely imposter syndrome because you beat yourself so much up as an addict and people judge you so much. Like, I remember you used to come home and you're like, do they actually trust me? Like,
yeah, because I've got these keys, I've got these codes, I've got this money, I've got vouchers, and I'm like, but... I didn't get it. I was like, well, I could just run off and spend it, but then I'm going to ruin myself if I do all that. And not like that. The thought never ever crossed my mind to do it, but it's just the trust
was overwhelming.
I was trusted with building keys. I was trusted with alarm codes, and I thought they're really investing in me. They've really taken their time to put me here and let me grow. Because some people need help growing. Some people can just grow naturally. And so, I mean, I just grew naturally there, and it just really become my baby. I mean, I was well known for it. Even
you was in the papers.
Yeah, I was in the papers. The mayor was there. I had a band. Oh, it was just, yeah, I went all out. There was no stopping anything. It was just inspiring to be trusted and welcomed and left to grow with guidance when I needed it. But also to know that the overwhelming experience I've got behind me was starting to shine through. So I had clear lights in my path.
And then we saw what it brought to us outside. So we were bidding on a property and then we got a nice place. And then I think you've got your car.
Yep.
you know, and then relationships were built with family and children. And before,
that was overwhelming as well.
Yeah, because people trusted us. As simple and silly it sounds, with a handbag in a room. Because before they wouldn't have done that. And when they'd done that, I think we looked at each other, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we was like, we had to question ourselves, but then realise where we were. So you still have doubt. No matter how many years you've been clean. I've been 20 years clean now and I still have doubt. But it's what you work on, what you engage in, what you feed. If you feed that negativity, that addiction, you're not only going to ever get that. But we were feeding the good stuff.
Oh, yeah,
and we started to see that.
And drive, and you know, we were driving each other, literally, you know, we was talking about each other's days and what we're doing, what the plans are and what can come from it. And that's what I said again, having that common ability to share and be able to relate to someone who was in the same position as you in recovery was just, for me, it was amazing, you know.
And people always try to split us up.
Always.
Codependency don't work, one won't want it, you know, you've got to leave him in order to get clean. I was told that by a few workers. I didn't, you know. 26 years later, we're still together. Just got to have that right support network. Obviously, separate care plans, but you also got to have that joint care plan. But yeah, so I got RC, and then you got RC.
And then I got RC, yeah.
Where did you get RC?
Kingston, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Because I went from there, and because I went from any field. So when I started embarking, I was doing sort of the ATRs, the RRs, learning on the criminal justice system alongside the apprenticeship. So there's so much going on in my life. I was just taking everything on. I didn't want 1 second to pass me where I wasn't learning. I was just this giant sponge, and everything was coming at me, and I was learning it and doing it. And, you know, I was building partnerships in the community, like with probation and with local authority. There was all this stuff I was learning about child protection and so I was learning all these little aspects. Couldn't retain it back then because there was a lot going on, but I understood it.
I think that was good management as well in the apprentice.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. It was definitely good management within the apprenticeship and stuff like that guided me and learnt me, especially around sort of building up and what needs to be done, where I want to go, and yeah, I think,
you know, without the support, I don't think we could have got where we got.
No way, no.
Definitely not. Not, you know, no, we've worked with CGL before, we've engaged with them and worked with them for 20 years now, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
And it's that sense of you can change when you walk through that door, or that smile, that compassion. We felt part of the community. And when you're on drugs, you're isolated from the community.
Yeah.
And I think it was that sense of community, weren't it?
It was that's and sense of self, sense of community.
So we're from South London, and there was a shooting and a stabbing on our street.
More than one.
And I think your car nearly got nicked.
Yeah, there was certain things. There'd been an influx of trap dens, crack houses within the local borough that had been closed down. So they'd moved locally to where we was, sort of on our street at the top of the estate, and it led to you know, people outside the manor coming up the road, and so people just flocking in from different places and flocking back out again. But along the way, you had your shoplifting, your car break-ins and stuff like that. So there was a lot of damage started to happen to my car and started to get broken into. There was lots of stabbings that started to take place, robberies, muggings, and the crime just went up. It wasn't only that low, it was the fact that actually I thought to myself, I've lived London now for a long time, and I didn't want that for my son, but I thought actually we all deserve a change. We all deserve something new, something fresh. And we had quite a few conversations about it. It wasn't just one and say, yeah, we're moving. I mean, it went on over a period of time. So, you know, I think a better quality of life would be up out of London somewhere now. You know, I think I've lived my life and I've done my time in London, and
I was on maternity leave at that point. I weren't employed.
Yeah.
And you was with the NHS in Haringey.
I was, yeah.
You know, and it was that fresh start, weren't it?
It was, yeah.
And then before I moved up, I was looking at jobs in Peterborough and Huntingdon for CGL. And I think I got an interview, didn't I? I got an interview for Peterborough and Huntingdon, and I got offered both jobs, but I went for Huntingdon. So it was that pushed us to move. You were still travelling down to London.
Yeah, at that point, yeah.
To work until you got a job
in
CGL, yeah.
And then I decided I'd seen the post at Peterborough that I'd liked.
It was amazing, weren't it, when you got it? What was the job? Because it was your first type.
Well, I've been, because I mean, I've been in sort of management before. I've been sort of team leading and sort of housing management before in London with vulnerable hostels and stuff. But I see this position, it was a team leader for a new pilot. I love pilots because you got a lot of drive in that. You know, it's not just sitting in an office and 9 to 5 stuff. You've got to build it. And it was a pilot for, you know, a floating support team. And I was like, I want some of that. That's, you know, we've got experience it, but I want some of that. It's just something new. So I went for the position. DBS took a little bit of a while to come back. It was different in London. It was back straight away. It was a bit of a delay. But anyway, yeah, I ended up falling into that post. I fell in love with the job. Absolutely loved it. I see the drive and commitment. And I felt a bit of loss because I'm really like a people's person.
I think you missed the client work, didn't you?
I did miss the client work. I really did miss that contact. And then we had a conversation, didn't we? And you said that there was a vacancy going
in the family safeguarding team.
In the family safeguarding team at Cambridge County Wide. So, senses and spidey senses come out, and I was like, I love safeguarding. It's something that I'm big on. I thought, all right, let me go into this field because there's got to be something in it. So I applied for the job, didn't I? I had a chat with the manager. I had my interview. I was offered the job, and I sort of give up my post at the other job, even though I loved it and I wanted to stay there and build it. There was something that stood out with a family safeguarding team to me that I knew I could really make more of a difference than I've ever made before. Because I'm dealing with whole families, not just one person.
I think when you got that role at that point, I was RC, but the Huntingdon team leader role come up around the same time.
Yeah.
And I went for it. You know, I still had my doubts. You know, I'd been off for 3 years due to having a child. My confidence weren't great. But I was told, you know, go for it. You're great at what you do. And I went for it, you know. And I had an interview and I was successful. I literally cried because I still didn't think I was worth it, you know.
Yeah.
You remember? I actually cried.
So emotional. I mean, even for me to see.
And I thought I used to be a heroin addict. Like, who is going to trust me to manage a whole service? But they did. And that was 2 years ago. And yeah, even now I get a bit emotional about it because I feel so lucky to be the manager here, you know. And then the great thing about it is I found out that they pay for apprenticeships. So next month I finish my level 3 in leadership, and the month after I start my level 5. And CGL, I paid for both of them. So even now, after 20 years after being clean, CGL is still there prompting me, giving me the tools, helping me to continue moving forward with my life. And that's why I never would want to leave. Like, in 3 years, I've never had a day off sick. I come in here day in, day out because I love, and I feel blessed. I feel very blessed to be given a chance in life. Come in and trust us. Give that same trust that you give to that addiction.
It takes a lot to come through that door. It really does. I mean,
hell yeah.
To push that door, when it says push, that one big word in front of you, when you get to the door, push. And you think, right, now I'm pushing. And you push the door. And then you open it up, and then you don't know what your expectations are. But when you open it, someone says, well, hello, how are you? You all right?
You're quite guarded when you come through that door anyway.
You're very like
institutionalised through courts,
like
prisons. They don't trust us. But it's that first contact will break that barrier.
Yeah.
I think we're good at chipping because we're street. See, we can go from being professional to being street. So we're
that's the magic.
That's the magic. You know, we don't just come from a professional point of view. I assess whoever's in front of me. If I can say to him, you know what, bruv, stop doing what you're doing because you're going to kill yourself, that would be more effective than someone going, so let's go and sit down and review your care plan and see what you can do to change. You've got to adapt to your situation. I don't have clients kicking off here. Because when they have, I've gone out the side there and I've heard them out. I'm listening. What do you want? What do you need? But I can't have that behaviour. Being real.
Yeah, I think it's more focusing on the solution and not the problem. Yeah. And seeing the person,
Bang
not
on.
the problem.
Bang on.
And listening. You know, it's a key skill. You listen.
It's a simple skill that some people don't have. Choose your battle. Choose your struggle. Because using's a struggle. Recovery is going to be somewhat of a struggle, but what one are you going to get more from? I say to people, choose your struggle in life. If you sit there, it's what you feed. You feed an addiction, you're only going to get that back. when I've been in police cells, it says, "Are you sick and tired of feeling sick and tired?" And I'll say that to every client I meet that wants to make change. I will continue to come through that door because my love for wanting to support others and seeing the outcome is just invaluable for me.
Stay focused and just don't give up.
Your story can help others, and we'd love to hear it. Wherever you've been, wherever you are, how you got there, whatever, it's up to you.